Hi friends, today I found another interesting thing in Dollarstore. That's LED light which is motion activated. Couldn't resist not to buy it because I love different sort of LED lights, and especially to see if it can be applied to some of my projects, or maybe interested to some of you and to apply to your projects. So here we are. So this is 10 LED battery powered motion activated light from RCA. RCA is a company which used to produce some good stuff, and this stuff will end up in Dollarstore for $4 Canadian. I think it's not too bad, but let's see what's inside. Obviously batteries are not included, so we're gonna use unpackaging was super easy. So here we are, we have, it says 10 LEDs over here and the motion sensor. Highly likely this is pure sensor, obviously it doesn't say anything about it. On the back we have on off and auto switch and the battery compartment. So I guess first thing I'll try to power it up and see if it operates, because it's Dollarstore stuff. You don't really know, have batteries handy already for that, because I read the packaging and lock some batteries. Hello, okay. So LEDs are lit. On, obviously they always gonna be on. Off, they off. When I do. This is interesting, they actually powering up under light. I was thinking that I have to do some sort of infrared or some sort of movement in order to actually trigger it, but they are powering automatically. So let's see what's inside and understand if this thing actually operates or not. Let's open it up. I'm gonna zoom in for that. Actually, for opening it up, decided to not zoom in, but just unscrew it first. Alright, it has only 3 screws, it's quick and easy, let's power it off. This one is still... Okie dokie, okay. So we have a top part with lens of some sort and a reflector for LEDs and also diffuser. Here we are. Okay, for this part I'll definitely zoom in. Alright, now we are close and personal. Here we are. So we see a PCB with all those 10 LEDs, but we see something interesting over here. So this is pure sensor. I think it's called pure because it's passive infrared aberration. And here we are, there is also a photoresistor. I guess this thing not supposed to trigger when there is light outside or light in a room or something like that. This is 47 microfarad capacitor, and let's see what we have on the back. On the bottom side of PCB we have like some kind of chip job over here, transistor and probably a regulator, a voltage regulator, and this is all of the active elements. So this cheap stuff called BISS0001, I guess a sort of dedicated controller. U2 over here is probably power regulator, and Q1 is transistor, obviously, which has actually switches on and off all the bunch of LEDs over here. Let me take a look quickly what are those components. Okay, I looked up components quickly, and what we have here. So pure sensor is from Nicera, and it is 50 CER. I don't know, or it's 500 ER or 50 CER. It's really hard to say. BIS 00001, and the voltage regulator is 6206A. So apparently BIS 0001 is dedicated peer controller. So this guy passive infrared detector for alarm system. So here is the typical application of this guy, and apparently it has anything you need to have in your some sort of small alarm system. This is about alarm system, but as you see over here, this transistor turn on the relay, but in our case it's a bunch of LEDs. It's pretty much the same. So as we see over here, the R3 is our photoresistor, and this guy over here is our PIR sensor. Typically, already kind of looked into schematic, and this is very similar to what we have over there. There are some differences, but it's pretty much similar. It's a boilerplate stuff. Notably, over here they mentioned that by changing some resistors and capacitors over here, you can change time of when the LED would be lit on for some time, and also you can change time for what this is going to be some sort of time when it's going to ignore any changes in infrared. So those TX and TI are the values you can play with. So theoretically, this in the documentation says 40 seconds. It's going to stay lit for 40 seconds, but by playing with the RCA combination, I can actually make it either shorter or longer. I would prefer actually longer than 40 seconds. Voltage regulator here obviously different, and this chip operates from 3 to 6 volts, so you cannot get 5 volts out of 3 AAAs, so it's going to be like working, 4.5, 3 volt range. I don't know. Let me take a look what this 6206A is. But this is I will take a look and then add the description add into description to this video. But this is typical application of this BIS 001. It's a dedicated chip for that. It's really nice. I never actually play with any kind of PIR sensor and dedicated controllers, but here we are. So let's speak about the PIR sensor itself. Again, don't have much of experience with those, but I printed out a nice sheet over here explaining how PIR sensor work. I'll zoom out a little bit more. So first of all, it's a collection of images from internet, and I just piled them on a single sheet of paper. So here we are. So this is PIR sensor, and it has 2 beams, and they are connected, those sensitive elements connected in reverse. So when object passes through those sensing beams, or it's not really beams, it's actually reverse, so it senses 2 sensors which actually sensing any infrared in this particular areas. And so when object passes through, they're going to be changed in the signal, and this is what detected by the sensor. So this is how sensor look like, and this is the schematic of sensor itself, essentially showing that there are 2 particular sensitive elements which are in the sensor. So here is the internals of the PIR sensor. As you see, those sensitive elements, they are in reverse in order to create positive and negative change of the signal. So over here we have how would you typically use the sensor. But the most important part here is this particular Fresnel lens. Let's look at this guy. So here is the Fresnel lens, or Fresnel, I guess the right way of saying it. It's designed in such a way that it will collect infrared light from different angles and shine it directly on this window. So it's not like in this, if that would be, imagine there is no infrared lens, so it would pick up only very directional light, right? Because there's just 2 sensors pointing this way. But this lens would make sure that from different angles, infrared would be picked up by this lens and projected straight on this little window on 2 sensors. So lens is very, very important, as important as sensor, if no more, from what I gather. So, all right. So this about the theory. It's very brief, and obviously I'm not an expert in this particular area. I would like to learn more, but if you want to learn more as well, you can actually search in the internet. There is a lot of information around about PIR sensor, how they work. So another thing, in this particular device, actually it does not turn on if there is light. So it's kind of funny that when you actually turn it on like this, it starts like in auto, it actually starts to be lit. But if you shut off the light and leave it, it will shut down, and if you pass by, this lens will project light. It's actually quite wide angle, by the way. I already tested it in the dark room. It detects infrared on pretty wide area of the room. At the end of story, this is really, I think it's a pretty neat project. And one thing I would change, that's the voltage supply to those LEDs, because I think they are pretty dim for my application. Even in the little cabinet or something, it's not much light, but it's okay. I understand, because they claim 100,000 hours of operation on the batteries, but yeah, it just doesn't matter. For example, especially if you're using rechargeables. So yeah, there is a little bit of tinkering can be done with this one, but out of the box is actually pretty neat. And if you need a source of pure sensors, or you want to use this BIS 0001 in your project, you can actually pull it out of here, because this is, you cannot, unless you cut it out somehow, you cannot use this PCB for any of your project. But theoretically, yeah, maybe if you cut it like this, and yeah, it might work. But here we are. So it's pretty cheap, as for $4 to have a complete product like that. I'm not sure what's the catch, because usually in dollar stores they have like some kind of barely functional stuff, or products which have, see, it's off, product which have some sort of defect. So I expect some sort of defect, but maybe one of the defects that actually this guy is pretty dim. So guys, if you want to buy this kind of device, probably take a look at your local dollar store, but this is what I can find in Canadian dollar store called Dollarama. This probably can be bought in eBay, I'm pretty sure. Didn't check that. It'll be interesting to check if you buy it in eBay, it's going to be cheaper or more expensive. But so far, if you want to do some kind of project, I think it's worthwhile to get one or two and play around. I'll be using one just in a storage room for sure, and maybe keep one or two just for playing around or sourcing some components. So thank you guys for watching. See you next time.